There's been a suggestion that New South Wales is going to sign up to the UN COP26 declaration on transitioning to zero emissions cars by 2040. Is that correct? Will the government be signing up to that?
Kieran, I've already signed the document and we're just working through with DFAT to get that formalised. But yes, New South Wales will be a participant in this. In fact, because of the policies we've put in place, we're already well on target to hit those ambitious targets set by the COP. In fact, we'll have 50% of all new cars sold in New South Wales being electric by 2030. So we're not only looking to the future, we're embracing it and grabbing all the opportunities that are coming with it.
Do you welcome the federal government's steps in this regard, its own transition of sorts? It's committed $250 million to infrastructure for EVs. Does it go far enough in your view?
Well, of course we welcome the federal government getting on board the EV revolution, but obviously they can go a lot further. We look forward to working with them to ensure that everyone in the community can access the benefits of owning an electric vehicle. We think that the federal government can do things like supporting the rollout of fast charging infrastructure right across the country. And to put it into perspective, New South Wales is spending $170 million to build fast charging infrastructure just in New South Wales alone, compared to what the Commonwealth is spending, which is about the same amount for the whole nation. So they can put a lot more money up to ensure that everyone can benefit from owning an EV. They can also do things like providing subsidies or waiving taxes for those people that buy an EV. The final thing they can do is look at tailpipe emission standards. Right now, we've got some of the worst tailpipe emission standards anywhere in the world, worse than China, worse than India. And what that means is that Australia is becoming the dumping ground for the vehicles the rest of the world doesn't want. And that's also a problem because it means that Australians are paying more for petrol here at the Bowser. That's not acceptable. We want to ensure that people get access to cheaper vehicles that are cheaper to run as well. And our policies are designed to do that. So we look forward to working with the Commonwealth to ensure that everyone can access the benefits of cheaper vehicles and lower cost vehicles to run.
I raised that prospect of improving vehicle emission standards to the Federal Minister Stuart Robert yesterday. He said it would be like he rejected the notion. He said it would be like a tax on traditional cars. What do you say to that?
Well, that's just absurd. It's clearly a nonsense. The modelling done by Josh Frydenberg and Paul Fletcher, when they were responsible for these portfolios, clearly demonstrated that there will be overall cost savings to consumers by moving to better fuel emission standards. So it makes no sense. We shouldn't be playing this silly brand of politics, not based on facts, and pushing out misinformation. We need to be focused on the opportunities and ensuring that all consumers can benefit and no one's left behind. That's what we're doing in New South Wales, and we look forward to working with the Commonwealth Government and ensuring that citizens can benefit from new technologies and save money while doing so.
Since we last spoke, you've taken on the Treasury role. Will you remain Minister for Environment and Energy now that you've got those broader responsibilities after the next reshuffle, which, as I understand it, will be over the next couple of months from Premier Perrottet?
Well, Kieran, as you know, that's a decision for Premier Perrottet. Right now, I'm focused on delivering for the people of New South Wales, making sure that we can make housing affordable, that we can get out of this pandemic better than we went into it, that we can support our small businesses and make sure we build back a stronger economy for everyone to benefit from. So I can do that as the Treasurer and the Environment Minister, or I can just do it as the Treasurer. I'm focused on doing the task that the Premier set for me and doing it to the best of my ability.
Are you keen to keep the role? Because there's been, an argument that if you're not in that environment and energy role, the government might lose its momentum or its forward-leaning approach to the transition to clean energy.
Whatever role I'm in, I'm going to continue to make sure that New South Wales is able to build a better, stronger and more prosperous future for everyone, not just environmentally, but economically as well. The two go hand in hand together, and I'll continue to push that message, whatever role I'm in.
Final question. The vaccination rates have, I think, exceeded most people's expectations. How important is that to underpin the economic resurgence in New South Wales and beyond?
Crucially important. Our vax rates are up at 90% at the moment and still heading north. And what that means is that there's confidence in the economy that we can bounce back. In fact, the latest business confidence numbers are the highest that we've seen ever in New South Wales, and they're higher than in any other state and territory. And that's been underpinned by the focus on getting our vaccination rates up. So good health policy is good economic policy. That's what we're seeing here in New South Wales, and it's setting us up to bounce back better from this pandemic, better than anywhere else in the country.